The meeting is called to order at 10:03, the budget hearings. At this time, we'll have JRA.
Good morning. Chairwoman Clay, thank you. Members of the committee, I appreciate the opportunity to present JRA's fiscal year 26 budget. Before we get started, we'd like to address a couple of items. Then I'll go into the detail. I'm not going to go through all the slides. I just want to make sure you had all the information. Just wanted to add some perspective. I know Councilman Hartley had mentioned about the blight funds from the state, and I just wanted to add some clarity to that. So I'm assuming you're talking about House Bill 1201. That is a tax rebate for work. You have to actually get a structure built and or renovated and then sell it for homes. So it's not, we were going for trying to get a pot of money to actually demolish house, but it's actually to get a structure built and then sold, and then you get a rebate for that, which we think is a great program, but it's not going to help address a lot of the things that we were hoping for blight elimination from a demolition standpoint. Yeah, no problem, sir. Yeah. And the other thing is about the JRA bond that is in the budget. One of the things I think is important to understand is JRA doesn't issue bond debts necessarily for JRA only projects. This bond debt is associated with the renovation of the Porter building, which we all know that JRA shares with the city. And so the debt service on that bond is related to that particular debt. And then I want to address the matter with the city attorney's office, and specifically the engineering study. JRA did have an engineering study done. There was some concerns about some of the structures. Before I got here, probably 4 years ago, JRA spent about $350,000 to resolve those issues. And so while the parking facility is not pretty, it is also not unsafe. And so I just wanted to clarify that. As it relates to development projects coming to JRA, one thing that we are always focused on is partnering with anyone who wants to do a project in the city of Jackson that makes sense for the taxpayers of the city of Jackson. And so while I did meet with an individual that the city attorney did bring to meet with me, when they came to meet with me, they apparently had some type of tactic where they were going to play this hardball, thinking that that was going to convince me to enter into some type of agreement on that parking garage, which they subsequently found out that that was not going to be the case. To this point, no documentation has been submitted to me as it relates to the use of that parking facility. I'm happy to entertain a project if such information is brought to me. But I just want to be clear that when you bring a project to JRA, we're going to investigate it. We're going to research it, and you've got to have some documentation. So when people come and meet with me and they tell me their vision, that's exactly what it is. It's an idea and a vision. Until you bring me documentation that shows me financing, that shows me a capital stack, that shows me where you have expertise to do this project, then all it is a conversation and an idea. So I want to make sure that we're clear that JRA is in the business of doing projects on behalf of the citizens of the city. And I would say that we should leave economic development projects to the experts, which I am qualified to do, and don't necessarily need the assistance of the city attorney to structure a deal. So having said that, I will move into the rest of my budget presentation. When I came before you last year, I was on the job for 211 days. And so during that time, since that time, I've learned a whole lot about not only JRA, but the city of Jackson. And the budget that I'm presenting to you is a significant increase to what JRA normally gets from the city. That increase, so we'll go ahead and get that out of the way in the beginning. I understand the financial challenges of the city. It's not lost on me that you all have a difficult task. As many of you know, I have served on a city council myself and was having to pass budgets in a city that is almost exactly like the city of Jackson, but for the fact it wasn't the capital of the state. And so I definitely understand the challenges, but being a professional, I also understand how to develop a roadmap to get us past some of the challenges that we have to address. And this budget reflects those thoughts and those plans. And so we are proposing a $15.4 million budget. That $15.4 million budget includes an operating budget of $2.9 million, which is an increase of about $1.1 million. The capital and pre-development, which is not a part of our request from the city, is a $7.4 million. That's going to be an additional almost $3 million in investments in Union Station, and $3 million, which JRA has secured through a line of credit for pre-development work for Ferris Street. And so we will use that $3 million to do all the pre-development work. I have a capital stack in this presentation that shows you how we're going to finance the $30 million renovation of Ferris Street. And then the remaining $5 million is a request for capital infusion for revolving loan funds that would then be dispersed back to attract businesses, specifically to urban renewal areas. And so what we have to do, what we have to do is figure out how do we stop business from leaving Jackson, and how do we entice new businesses, and we have to incentivize that. And so that is the bulk of the request from JRA. If you will refer to page, I'm not going through all the slides. If you'll go through page 8, on page 4, slide 8, you'll see that this fiscal year, JRA is projected to generate $792,000 of revenue. So that's non-governmental assisted revenues. That's revenues that is generated from the work that JRA has done to get properties back into a usable state. Because of the work that we've been, sorry.
I turn to page 8 and I don't see that.
Page 4, slide 8.
Page 4,
Slide 8.
8.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, I've got it now.
Yeah, thank you. So we're increasing about 78% in our revenue projections that are non-assisted revenues. And this is our work to get Union Station back into a functioning state. When I came, most of Union Station was inhabitable. The windows were busted out on the Capitol Street side of the building, so that means the ballroom wasn't able to be rented out. The offices, everyone left that was renting space during COVID, so it was a vacant building. You only had 2 tenants at one point, which was J-Tran and Amtrak. Well, Amtrak's pretty much stuck there because you can only get on the train one place. However, Amtrak doesn't pay any rent, so it doesn't do us much good. Having said that, we have gotten the building back into usable space. Many of you attended the open house that we did at Union Station. We have gotten the second floor completely leased out in Union Station, and we're starting a construction phase to bring in more office space so that we can lease that space out as well. So what we're trying to demonstrate here is that we are intentional about generating revenue through JRA. Obviously, it's going to take us time to get properties that we have back into a usable state. We did receive an allocation of an investment from the city last year of $443,000. We had asked for $631,000. That was cut, so we received a 30% decrease, which obviously impacted our operational capabilities, but we were able to move forward and do some phenomenal work this past fiscal year. I do want to point out 2 programs that we are proposing to bring online through this budget request. One of them is our Housing and Neighborhood Stabilization Program. I think that's very important because it encompasses many, many projects that we intend to do at JRA that has to deal with building new housing. So a lot of times when we say blight elimination, we're saying, oh, we're going to tear down the house and eliminate blight. I think blight elimination is more than just demolishing a structure. We have to figure out how do we get these structures back into a taxable state, because we have to grow the tax revenue of the city if we want to be able to address these issues in a more impactful way. And so this department or division of housing and neighborhood stabilization would do several things for JRA. So it would manage our infill housing program. So what we will do is take vacant lots. We Revitalize Mississippi has asked JRA to take all the lots that they have. I don't know if I want to bite off that right yet. But we would take vacant lots in neighborhoods and subdivisions, and then we would build a new house on that lot and then turn around and sell that to an end user. That way we're getting new homeowners, brand new housing stock and inventory into the community, which is badly needed. It also allows us to manage the House Bill 1201 blight tax rebate. So what happens there in that rebate is if we take a tax forfeited property, get it back, build a new structure on it, we then get to take a 25% rebate on our cost to build that house. So we take that, we tell Secretary of State it cost us $150,000 to build this house. The state will then cut JRA a check for 25% of that $150,000. That then allows us to either, a lot of times you can't build a house and make a profit on it, which is why developers aren't building houses, because they can't sell a house for what they build it for. With this rebate, what it allows JRA to do is we can take a hit on the construction of the house and then make some money back with the rebate. It also allows you for the following 4 years to take a percentage of the increase of the ad valorem tax. So then what happens is JRA would come to the clerk, say, hey, we did this house, we sold this house, and then the clerk would then write a check to the state that goes into this pot of money that the state would then remit back to JRA up to 25% of the actual construction cost. So there's two incentives to the rebate that JRA would qualify for doing these infill housing under the blighted properties, with state forfeited properties. And so having someone and having the ability to be able to stand that up. Also our home ownership program, the board just approved and we just submitted an application to become a CHODO. The state of Mississippi has a mandatory 15% set aside in home funds. We've had conversations with Mississippi Home Court. They don't have enough CHODOs to actually use that funding. And so JRA is establishing a CHODO to be able to go to the state and utilize that funds for affordable housing. Because the money is there, they just don't have the ability to deploy it. So if you got some money, I'll definitely use it. So we're working on that as well. Our partnership with Revitalize Mississippi, obviously they do a phenomenal job of getting blighted properties cleaned up, but they're not in the construction business, and we got to get these properties back in a taxable state. So that's our housing and neighborhood stabilization. We also have to be intentional about business recruitment and, more importantly, retention. The last year I've been going around talking to businesses specifically in downtown, and to be quite honest, it's not a secret that a lot of our bigger tenants are being poached by neighboring communities. We go and meet with them during their board meetings to talk about the work that JRA is doing to help bring new investment in downtown, because the biggest complaint is we don't see enough going on in downtown. We bring clients to town and they see X, Y, and Z. What we're telling them is JRA has a plan to address these issues. So this is our plan. This is the methodology that we're going to use to get this plan done. This is not just talk. Here's the written documentation. We've done a master plan. This is how we intend to finance a lot of these projects. And that's something that we need to do more of, because it's easier to retain a business than it is to recruit a new one. And so I think we need to do more of that, and we have to do that in a more intentional way. And then we have to figure out how do we recruit new businesses to the city. And so using incentives like a revolving loan fund that most small mom and pop businesses can't go to a traditional lender because they're just not going to get the loans. We understand how the baking industry works, but if we can help support a legitimate business that can help transform our area, our urban renewal zones, then I think that is a small investment to make. I've said a lot. I got 137 slides, so I could say a lot more. But I wanted to just say that we're intentional about the work that we're doing at JRA. I've only been here a year and a half. It seems a lot longer than that, but I've only been here a year and a half, and we've done a tremendous amount of work to transform JRA into a highly functioning economic development organization, but also one that is getting things done on behalf of the citizens of the city of Jackson. So with that, I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much, and thank you for the opening information. We're going to start with Mr. Roselle.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Foote, 3 questions.
As to the properties that y'all are currently overseeing, there's a map on page, it's slide 32 on page 16.
Yes, sir.
Is that the map of the different pieces of property that y'all oversee?
Yes, JRA owns 100 properties within the city.
Okay.
Of those 100 properties, if you will go through here, you will see that we have done a master plan on 90% of the properties that we own. And so currently today, as I sit here, every single property that we own in downtown Jackson is part of our TOD master plan, which is, there's information in your pamphlet about that. So all of those properties will be revitalized. More specifically, we're doing a $30 million investment on Ferris Street, so that we own 15 buildings on Ferris Street, so that will revitalize all 15 of those buildings. I've put a sample of the capital stack on how we're going to finance that $30 million in your book as well.
Let me get to my next question.
Go ahead.
So there's, these are, this map on 32, on chart 32, that's the properties that y'all, or maybe some of the properties that y'all oversee. Is that what that is? Is that?
Yeah,
Okay.
the highlighted properties are properties that are owned by JRA.
Okay.
Correct.
So there's a property right across the street over here that's got a parking garage attached. And the legal department is down in the bottom floor.
Correct.
Or maybe 2 floors there. And we were informed that they're having to move to find another
Yes.
place to live because the HVAC wasn't working.
Well, I addressed some of that, I think maybe before you got here.
No, I got here before you
Okay,
did.
well, great. So the HVACs, well, based on my estimate, the city occupies about 80,000 square feet of property that is in the
Okay.
name of JRA, of which there's no revenue generated from that. So it is hard for someone to say, oh, we're going to use this building for free, and then, oh, you got to do all the maintenance and upkeep on the building as well, especially with the minuscule budget that JRA has. And so what I understand, and all these things were done before I got here, was that the agreement was that the city would use the buildings and their maintenance would do the maintenance and upkeep of the facilities. As I understand, that may not have been done at the level that was originally agreed upon, but I don't think that it is reasonable to ask JRA to invest money into maintenance and upkeep of buildings they generate no revenue
Now,
from.
that building does generate revenues because it's got a parking garage.
I'm sorry?
Doesn't that building have a parking garage?
Well, there's office space in the actual parking garage.
Right.
Yeah.
But the point is that building does represent, it does generate revenue because the parking garage. But the problem is that if you want to talk about revitalizing all these property, revitalizing should include HVAC that functions correctly so that people.
Oh,
can
I
work
certainly agree with that, absolutely.
there. So I do not buy the idea that because they're living there free, that you shouldn't fix the HVAC. I think that's the responsibility of JRA to keep the HVAC operating correctly so that the legal department doesn't have to move to another location.
Sure. I certainly respect your opinion, but disagree with that observation.
Okay. Like second question, water bills is, you got a lot of properties and use a lot of water. Are y'all up to date with your water bills with Jackson Water?
All the bills that come in JRA's name are paid and up to date.
Okay. I guess my follow-up question here, you're asking for, I'm going back to slide 10 on page 5. It's got the RISE fund, $2 million. I'm not sure what the RISE fund is.
There's explanations for each one of those in the packet.
I'm asking you for the explanation.
Sure, absolutely, happy
Okay.
to.
So if you could explain the $6.5 million, which represents the money needed for this investment opportunity.
Sure. These shouldn't be new to you all. You've seen this information in various forms. We had it in our annual report that we sent to you all. We also mentioned these in some of our other events and activities, but the RISE Fund is a proposed revolving loan fund specifically for the recruitment of businesses to urban renewal zones within the city of Jackson. So there are 6 of those zones across the city. The purpose of those zones is to entice and attract new investment in those areas. So that RISE Fund would be a revolving loan
So
fund.
it doesn't exist right now?
It doesn't exist,
Okay.
yeah. We're trying to capitalize the
Trying to
fund. That's what
capitalize-
we're asking for.
Okay, so let's go to the Farish Forward. Does that exist right now?
No, none of these funds exist in their current capacity. What we're-
Okay, so these
yeah,
are all new funds that you're
Correct.
asking for?
Correct.
Now, for operating, you're asking for an additional 1.5 million, or is that what was?
So operating is for the operating funds to
Okay.
augment the money that is to operate GRA. So that is an operational request.
Okay.
And an increase from, we received 433,000.
Okay.
This current fiscal year, we're asking for 1.5 for the upcoming fiscal year.
And then the infill housing revised, that's a new program as well?
That is a new program that I
Okay.
explained earlier on in my comments.
Okay. That's my 3 questions. Thank you.
Thank you. We got, any questions? Okay, Mr. Hartley?
Yes, sir.
You mentioned Revitalize Mississippi and a score of properties
Yes,
there
sir.
you're obtaining from them?
No, they would like for us to
Oh.
obtain from them. Listen, we own 100 properties. I'm not trying to acquire any more properties until we get some of these that we already have. But we are trying to develop a plan that includes the properties that Revitalize Mississippi has. So for us, I would only take ownership of those properties if I have a funding source, which is one of the reasons why we're asking for these funds for the infill housing, because I could then take those properties, build a house on there, and then turn around and sell it. And so that's the reason. We're trying to address some systemic problems across the city that we need to figure out how to finance badly.
Okay, what's the bottom line on the ask?
6.5 million.
6.5 million.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay,
I got a question.
okay. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead, yeah.
Okay, I have a question for you.
Yes, ma'am.
So I realize you're asking for an increase, and
Yes,
I
ma'am.
realize that you feel that you should not be repairing these buildings that you currently have. So in my eyes, I'm thinking that we need to not give you an increase, and we
Okay.
will discuss it, maybe a decrease, and let you figure out a way to improve the existing buildings, because there's no sense in us recruiting if we have existing tenants that are living like slumlords.
Mm-hmm.
So in my eyes, we do need economic development, but we need to take care of what we have, and we need to improve the city, and that's not a way to do it, because the reputation will precede us on what we're doing.
Certainly. I, again, appreciate your opinion on that. I will say that as it relates to revenue generation, the only way that JRA can generate revenue is to make money off properties that it owns currently. There's only certain buildings that are currently habitable, which at this point are all occupied by the city. So for us, the only way to generate revenue is to have a partnership with the city, which is what we're asking for here, or we have to figure out how do we generate revenue on the buildings that we currently have that could generate revenue for us. I mean, just to give perspective, the city leases property from other people at market rate rents. You have a building on State Street that the city's paying $500,000.
We understand,
Yeah,
and we
well-
understand that we fund you, so we'll work with what we can do for you.
Okay.
I have a question. All right, one of the things that's encouraging in the past year or two has been, there's been some of significant transactions of really big, tall office buildings in the city that would have been vacant or close to vacant,
Sure.
like the Deposit Guarantee Plaza building and some others. Which is encouraging that outside investors have come in and bought those things for sometimes like 10 cents on the dollar or whatever.
Yes.
But I'm curious if you've had any offers on any of the properties that are part of the JA portfolio.
We get folks that submit proposals. We are working with developers on some of the property that we own on Ferris Street right now. So part of the $30 million investment in Ferris Street includes private developers that we're working with.
So what is the process if somebody comes to you and wants to buy one of your buildings? What is the decision-making process? And does the city play a role in that, whether the administration or the city council? Are they involved? Do they even know about an offer that may come before JRA?
No, sir. No, the city is not involved in those processes and deliberations. The Board of Commissioners for JRA makes those decisions. What we do is someone will bring a proposal to us. Again, I would caution that you coming to sit with me and talking to me about an idea and you bringing me a proposal that has financial data in it are two separate things. And so if someone brings a proposal to us that makes sense, then we will vet that proposal, and then we'll make a recommendation to the Board of Commissioners, and then they will vote whether or not that they want to go with that proposal or not.
Okay. But you haven't had any proposal, you've had some people approach you, but you really haven't had anything for the
No, we
commission to vote
have
on?
developers that we're working with right now that will be part of the renovations that happen on Fair Street. So
Have you had any votes for specific proposals by the commissioners?
we have. We're still vetting some of them. Some of them, like, for example, we have one developer that is doing a bistro and wine bar on Fair Street. So we are working with them right now through their design documentation for their construction documents. We are partnering with Marshall's Bookstore, which is on one end of Fair Street. We're trying to, she is moving into one of the buildings in the 200 block, and we will be working with her on her build out for that. So there are people that we're working with already on Fair Street.
Have there been any examples, since you came on board, of properties that were in the JRA portfolio and were transferred over to where they were owned by folks that would pay property taxes?
No, there has not since I've been, no.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. We
All right.
appreciate you.
Thank you all for your time. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay, next we'll have Human Resources.
Councilwoman Clay, so last week, HR did pass out their presentations, but I noticed that you guys do not have them today. We are printing them and they are on the way.
Okay. Let's let IT go instead, till we get them. After IT, they should be printed, but we don't want to waste our time.
Members of the City Council, I'm Nathan Slater, and I'm the Interim Director of Information Technology for the City of Jackson. So this morning, for our budget presentation, I'd like to talk about first how we're structured, okay? So in the Department of Information Technology, you'll find 3 divisions. You'll find telecommunications, you will find server administration and networking. You'll also find what we have called applications. In our budget presentation today, we're not asking for any new money. What we're going to try to do is work within the confines of what we have until we can make a better discovery. I wouldn't feel good about coming to ask you for some additional funding when I don't really have a good picture of the landscape. But I do want to share with you where we are right now, okay? And I want to talk about telecommunications first. As you are aware, we have 30 communication towers around the city, okay? And those towers generate revenue for the city of Jackson. If you look at, can we go back to telecommunications? Oh, it's frozen. Okay, let me just speak to it then. All right, so in telecommunications, we receive about $3.5 million annually for our towers, okay? We think that revenue could be up to $4.5 million. We'd probably get another $1 million if we were to make some changes, okay? And that if we make these changes, that means that more companies are going to want to be a part of our system, and they're going to pay for that additional $1 million. So I wouldn't be coming to the council to ask for another $1 million. What we would do is make the necessary renovations and then allow the towers to make money for us, okay? So we have a total of 30 towers in and around the city. Currently, we are behind on inspections, okay? And when you get behind on inspections, you can be fined by the FCC up to $25,000 a day. One of the things that our towers do, if you take a look at, think about our towers, each of our towers have a beacon on them at the top. And those beacons on top are so that planes that are flying in and around the Jackson area, they can get a visual of when they're getting ready to try to land at night and that type thing. Some of our towers are not adequate, and we spend a lot of time trying to get these towers up to speed, but we've gotten behind in our maintenance. So we're going to be wanting to move some money around in order for us to do more inspections. So 25 of our towers, 25 of the 30 need maintenance, okay? We've identified those. It's going to cost about $232,000 to do it, but again, we're going to work within the confines of our budget to do it. We have one vendor now that currently does it. We have a contract with them for $164,000. That's not enough for us to do what we need to do. We want to look at entertaining another vendor, bring another vendor on board to assist us with that process so that we can become in compliance with the FCC to take that revenue from 3.5 to 4.5 million. Any questions on that part?
We're going to let you do your whole presentation before we answer questions.
All right, thank you. Okay, so the next area that we have is what I'm going to call the heart of our infrastructure, our systems that we operate in the city of Jackson, and that's server administration and networking. We are going to be looking to increase our spend on hardware this year. We are behind in upgrades, okay? So the upgrades, the systems that we use, the servers, the storage, and the virtualization pieces are out of warranty. So we're like on the last year, and most vendors will recommend that you do a refresh every 3 to 5 years. We're beyond the 5-year period, okay? So we're looking to do an upgrade. So we're asking, going to move something around again for $469,000 to make that work. The other part that we want to look at is currently we own a lot of fiber in the city of Jackson, okay? And that fiber build out started years ago, probably 20 years ago. I remember when it first initiated. Whenever a telecommunications vendor would come into the city, they would grant the city strands of fiber so that we could build out our network to connect police, to connect fire, connect administration to the main site. That was a very good idea at the time. However, as time has progressed, we have found ourselves getting into the telecommunications business. So we're now competing with Comcast, we're competing with C-Spire, we're competing with some of these others because we're delivering services that sometimes we cannot deliver. So for example, if we get a fiber cut, 2 weeks ago, there was a truck over in North Jackson, came through an intersection, had something on the back of the truck, brought the fiber down. Fiber down, all the lights out. We have an individual that comes in, make an estimate, $2,500. We currently have about $160,000 that we budget for repairs, okay? And we are getting very close to spending all of that money this year. We have proposals from both AT&T, we get another proposal from Comcast, and one from C-Spire that will probably get us around $110,000 to do what we are currently trying to build out ourselves, okay? And so take that $160,000 that we're spending, if we decide to just allow the private industry to run our networks for us, which is what everybody else does. That's what Trustmark does. That's what, State Farm does. They have entities that run their environment. They don't try to run fiber themselves. They go to Comcast or they go to AT&T and say, this is what I need you to deliver for me. And that is going to be my proposal, is that we move to that type of structure. The other big thing that we've got to be very careful of, and that is cybersecurity. And I don't think I have to, preach too long on that side of it. I think everybody understands that what can happen if you don't have a good, solid foundation. We do want to enhance our cybersecurity for the city. It is, I think we're doing a very good job with what we have. But there are some additional software and tools that we need to purchase in order to ensure that our environment stays up. I think everybody remembers, I guess, a couple of years ago when Hines County encountered a threat and they were down for a significant period of time. That is an area where we don't want to be, so we are going to move some money over in that area to improve our cybersecurity as well, okay? The other area that the Department of Information Technology supports are applications, okay? These are the systems that people use to either log on with their computers or their cell phones, whatever the case may be, but we have applications out there that everyone uses. One of the applications that we have to do an upgrade this year to is going to be the Chronos time clocks, okay? The Chronos time clocks, we're in the last year of these clocks that we have where employees come in, log in, and then it gets transferred over into HR. That's going to require an upgrade, and it's not only the software, but it's that physical clocks themselves. Now, that's one thing that we are challenged with, is how do we pay for the clocks? Because the clocks are going to cost us somewhere in the neighborhood of $252,000. One of the ways to offset that is probably to let each department buy their own time clocks, okay? They can take it out of their budget, they can transfer it over to us, and then we'll get it paid. But if not, if that's not, if other departments don't want to do that, then we'll see what we can do to move some money around in to make that procurement. But we have to upgrade the time clocks, okay? That has to happen. The other thing that we're looking at doing is our municipal court system. I don't think any of you have been in our municipal court lately, but when you go into our court system, it's an old system as well, and that system currently costs us somewhere, I think it's $107,000 a year that we pay for this court system. Now, it's old. It's not cloud-based, and on any given day, when you go into our court system, you have a judge, you have the attorneys, and you have the clerks. The system could go down, and everybody's at the mercy of that system, waiting 30 to 40 minutes, sometimes an hour, in order for it to come up. Think about when you got all these people in a courtroom, and they can't get processed. So that is an upgrade that we're looking at. So the system that we currently have charges us $107,000. The one that we're going to is only going to cost us $58,000 a year. So $107,000 a year versus $58,000. So we think that's, that makes sense. There will be some upfront costs, but I think we'll be able to cover those. But I think that's a system that we're going to have to do something with. The other system that we're going to have to look at is our HR and financial system. We're looking at replacing that system. So that system, as we upgrade, we will have the upfront upgrade costs as well, but over time, the monthly cost that we pay and the annual cost that we pay are going to be significantly less. Again, we're transitioning from on-premise solutions to something that's going into the cloud, and the beauty of it going to the cloud is that it's better protected, okay? You have more security out there. I mean, just like when you log on, when you try to transfer funds on your phone to your bank, all that's going to the cloud, we know that the banks are protected, and on the backside of us, that is what we're looking at doing, okay? Next, a little bit about salaries. We do want to make some adjustment with salaries. We are down, currently we have 22 people on staff. I think it's crazy. Is it 21, 22? 22. And we currently have 13 vacancies. So a lot of people on the team are working overtime, working a lot of hours, trying to make sure that these applications stay up, make sure that the network stays up, and that type of thing. So we have 7 vacancies that are posted on the job board right now. So we are trying to increase the staffing because since I've been on board, we've lost 5 individuals, okay, for various reasons, okay? So we got to try to replace those individuals and get us where we need to be so that people are not having to work, all these additional hours to support our, the City of Jackson infrastructure. I do have mentioned salaries and performance raises. That's something I'd like to have a discussion about. Not prepared to talk about it at this point in time, but I do want to put that in the back of your mind because technology people, they do cost, okay? And other entities are competing with us for our talent. Talent that we have trained, talent that we have educated, that type of thing, we have to compete for them, and some a lot of them are dedicated and been here a while, and they like the City of Jackson. Okay, so let's talk about cost improvement areas. So and I'm getting almost to the end of my presentation. So when I came on board, I inherited a fleet of vehicles. I think I have 19. Okay, I have 19 vehicles in my name, okay? And so a lot of people had vehicles. I mean, typically you came on board, it was like, you want a car? It was just like they say, you want a cell phone? So I've got that many cars. So one thing that we did was we parked almost at least 12 or 14 of the cars, okay? The other thing that we did was we collected all the fuel man cards, because everybody had a fuel man card. If you had a car, you had a fuel man card. So we collected all the fuel man cards. All of that is in one central place now. If anybody needs a vehicle, and we do have some employees that need vehicles. We have some that travel from different locations and that type of thing, and so that's understandable. But we don't need that many vehicles, okay? So we're cutting that cost. All the fuel man cards, anybody wants a vehicle, they come in, they check the car out, so we know who has it, and they request a fuel man card as needed. Nobody takes a fuel man card home with them anymore. The other cost saving that we're doing, and I mentioned earlier, we're going to go to this converged network. When we put everybody on the same network, whether it's Comcast or whether it's C-SPI, whoever the case may be, we expect that to save us some money. The other area where I think that we have to take a look at is we also have responsibility for cell phones. We currently have 560 cell phones that are active in the City of Jackson. So the question becomes, for the city, citywide, and pretty much it's almost like when someone gets employed, you say, do you want a phone? And I think that policy needs to be reviewed. We currently have 560 active cell phones. Some people need them, don't get me wrong, but that responsibility still falls back upon our office. So we think that a review of that is needed, and I've talked to my boss about that, and he's well aware of what we're discussing here today. So with that being said, I will turn it over to you all, and we can talk about the budget and other things that you want to consider.
Thank you very much. Your presentation was very detailed, and we appreciate you.
Okay.
We're going to start with Mr. Foote.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for your presentation. We just covered a lot of different things that you are trying to upgrade and the cost to upgrade. How much revenue is generated by the towers currently? What did you get last year in revenue from the towers, or this year?
Yeah, so the revenue last year was 3.5 million, if I'm not mistaken. Is it 3.5? Yeah, 3.5 million.
3.5 million.
Oh, I'm sorry. I just been correct. It was 4.2 million. Thank you for that.
4.2 million. Okay. What's your expense line? I'm not sure if I've got that here. How much, how much you spent? Do you spend all that and then more, or what?
So that money goes into a technology fund, and that
Right.
technology fund funds the Office of Information Technology and some other things. We are not over budget. We have worked within the confines of the current budget, and what we have now, I think, is adequate.
So what is the current budget? I mean, you're not talking about the 4.2 million, are you?
So the 4.2 million is what comes into the technology fund. I do not think we expended the 4.2 million this
Okay, so
year.
I guess my question, we got a lot of numbers here, but I don't know that we covered what your full budget for the year ahead is expected to be. I didn't see that in the
So
handout.
is that that would be the 4.6 million?
Is it,
Okay. Okay. Okay, so the total budget is 7.5 million,
okay,
91, yes, okay.
all right. One other question here I had. You say you have 13 vacancies. How many staff do you have what's your line item for staff you want to have, and how many do you have?
Right. So
Is that
the
covered?
current, we're allocated for how many? We had 20,
You said 22
I
people,
think it's
13
20 what's
vacancies,
that number?
and 7
28, we're
posted.
budgeted for 28.
But you got 13 vacancies, so you only got 15 people right now?
That's correct.
Okay, that answers that question. And then, the other question I had, and you mentioned something about outside contracts, and my concern was that we had signed up a bunch of outside contracts during the last few years of the previous administration. What's your outside contract, and how much do you pay for outside contracts at this point in time?
So it depends on what the contract is. So right now, we probably only have 2 outside contractors.
Oh, is that right? Okay.
Because we've been trying to streamline and make sure we understand what the contractors are doing. One of the contracts was for the website, right? And we ended that contract because we didn't feel like the money we were paying, we were getting the value for it. So we did hire an individual who's come on board, and he's going to take over the role of being our web designer, okay?
Okay.
So we have a few more so we did contract out with another individual that was cheaper than the one we had. But when that contract is over, we're going to turn that over to the individual that we've hired.
Okay, what's the other contract for?
The other contract that we have is for, I think I mentioned to you, Microtech.
Microtech?
Microtech is the one that maintains the towers for us. They do the inspections, and they're supposed to do the actual maintenance, but we need somebody else to assist them with that process.
How much do you pay them, how much do you pay them a year?
Their contract was $164,000, but we did not expend the entire $164,000 this year because of agreement on what the contract that they signed that they will perform. So one of the issues was cutting the grass, and we have to be very diligent about cutting grass around the towers. A lot of our towers are overgrown with weeds and that type of thing, and the vendor and us we did not agree upon the terms of the contract, even though they signed a contract saying that they would cover the grass cutting.
Okay.
They did not. And so we're looking for, as a matter of fact, we're in the process now of finding a vendor, or at least 2 vendors, that will maintain the 30 sites that we have.
Outstanding. I
Yeah, 'cause I
appreciate
think,
your due diligence.
Councilman Hartley, you had a comment about the towers in your district, and that they may be, I think some of them were overgrown with weeds and that type of thing, so,
Not as much.
okay.
Okay, Ms. Brown?
Thank you. These 19 cars that you have, what kind of cars are they? Are they regular cars or striped out city cars? or-
They are striped city cars. Some of them do not have identification on them. Some do not have identification on them, but we also have some trucks. We have about 4 trucks, which is understandable because we were doing maintenance on fiber, right? And so sometimes we have to bring supplies from one area to another area to repair fiber throughout the city.
Okay, thank you.
So, but some of them are a little old, some of the cars, but it's still being used and still have fuel man cars and that type of thing.
Mr. Hart?
Yes.
Yeah.
Good morning. Thanks for a great presentation. I see you guys are digging in to where things really matter for us, fraud, waste, and abuse. You mentioned how many personnel? 22?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, and how many vehicles?
19.
Okay, so everybody gets,
Yeah.
that's,
It's a
okay.
no-brainer.
The other thing is, I just want to see the personnel vacancies, where are they?
So they are on the, what we call applications development side. Okay?
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry.
Applications.
So two areas. One is application development to help with, I mentioned the new municipal court system that's going to have to be developed, and the other system with the time clocks, that system. But also on the server and administration and cybersecurity side, that's where we really need some help. We need some people to help us maintain our infrastructure and to help safeguard it. We have a director now, Chris is our director, and we are currently in the process, we had a meeting the other day, where we're entering into a partnership with Jackson State to be our disaster recovery site. So we're going to move our premier applications from our main site and move it to Jackson State, where they have nice air-conditioned space and that type of thing. And there's some things that Jackson State wants to do with the city of Jackson, so it's going to be almost revenue neutral on that part.
Okay, and my last item, the county went through some real bad pains.
Yes, yes.
When they got hit, including folks not being able to process deeds and a whole bunch of just valuable information there. How safe are we with our system, against being hijacked?
I would give it a C minus. Okay. I'll give it a C minus. It's causing staff to work additional hours and monitor almost 24 hours ourselves, which is why we need some help and support, with getting the correct applications, the correct software, and moving some of our applications to the cloud where they're more secure.
Just one final question.
Okay.
You mentioned not the vacancies, but overtime.
Uh-huh.
You mentioned overtime several times.
Yeah.
How big of a deal is the budget? Are you getting the
Yeah.
right budget for the overtime, or
Yeah, so we're able to trade off some with comp time, if you want to speak to that.
comp time? No, that's okay. That's okay.
Okay, all right.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're able to trade some of it off, so it's not costing the city an exorbitant amount of money. They're not charging
Okay.
us
Okay.
$45 and $50 an hour for overtime. That's not taking place.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Mr. Gazelle? Okay. Mr. Parkinson, did you listen to the presentation?
I did not, my apologies.
Okay, well, we're going to skip your questions and let you ask them at another time.
Good.
Okay.
Follow up.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Slater, and appreciate your presentation and your prudence in trying to cut back on some of the expenses for cell phones and cars and things like that. My comment is really about an opportunity, a huge opportunity for the city of Jackson and the IT area. You mentioned dark fiber, and there was a whole lot of dark fiber laid way back 20, 30 years ago because it was the thing to do, and WorldCom was here, and we had railroads, and they laid a lot of fiber along the railroads and stuff. So we have a lot of dark fiber
Yes.
that hasn't been lit yet, which could be extremely valuable.
Yeah.
And we've all seen the announcements about data centers up in Madison, and also the latest one was one in Brandon. I think there's a real opportunity for Jackson to get a data center located somewhere in the city of Jackson, and the dark fiber could be a key component in trying to do that. And I would encourage the administration, you and the administration, to pursue the possibility of getting a data center to come to the city of Jackson, and so we could participate in that IT bonanza.
Yeah, and we are doing analysis of the fiber map, because what we're trying to do is find out exactly where does all this dark fiber exist. We know some majority of the routes, but we don't know all of them. But I'll keep you posted on that.
Okay, I think there's a bunch of it in the south, down at the, close to the railroad tracks there, just close to, at the end of that JRA, or the end of that property that the city has, that's under the auspices of JRA right now, but it's city property. So anyway, I encourage you to do that. Thank you.
Okay, okay,
Thank you very much for your presentation.
okay. Thank you. Thank you all.
Okay, now we're going to move back to human resources. Thank you for waiting.
Go. What? Believe me, it's an opportunity. I'm not saying everything's perfect, but it's a great, yeah, I know.
Good morning. Toya Martin, Interim HR Director. Thank you, Council, for allowing me the opportunity to present Human Resources Fiscal 25-26 Budget Presentation to you. Some of the services that HR offers the City of Jackson is HR administration, talent acquisition, employee relations, career and succession planning, classification and compensation, compliance, records management, and benefit management. HR consists of a total of 15 staff members, including myself. That consists of course, myself, the Executive Office Coordinator, our Equal Employment Opportunity Officer, who is responsible for handling disciplinary actions throughout the city, grievances and complaints, Training Manager, who is responsible for training all of the City of Jackson employees throughout the city, 4 HR business partners. Those employees are responsible for handling support and any HR needs and support that the departments are needing. The HR business partners are available for that. Compliance and compensation officer, that person is the employee who oversees timekeeping, Cronus timekeeping, and also that person is responsible for audits on time records to make sure that we keep down the fines that we receive from the Department of Labor. So that person is responsible for that as well. Benefits administrator, who is responsible for our benefits program with the city, the technician that works in that office as well, and 4 of the 15 employees consist of 4 part-time employees. Those employees don't work over 15 to 20 hours a week, and all of those employees used to work in the office of HR full-time, but they came back after they retired to help us out part-time. So that's where those employees consist of. Throughout my presentation, I have a lot of help for information, important information for the council, information that I'm typically used to providing in my budget presentation every year. I won't go through those slides. Now, if you all have any questions about it, I'll make sure that I'm able to answer those. So I'll go straight to my budget overview slide. We are not asking for any increases this budget year. This is a flat budget. We understand the position that the city is in, and we want to maintain a flat budget. We're not asking for any increases. So the total amount of my budget is $1,229,633. And I do have I see on the budget overview sheet that I provided to you all, I forgot to add the other operating costs, which is $1,001, but the total of my proposed budget is $1,229,633. I'm available to answer any questions that you all may have today.
Okay, you said $1,001?
I'm sorry, 1 million, $1,229,633.
Forgot to add, what is that
I
number?
forgot to add other operating costs, which is $1,001.
Just 1,001?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am, I'm sorry.
Next question, do we need to increase this amount by $1,001, or is it included in there?
It's included in there. Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
thank
My budget sheet has the correct total on here.
Mr. Hartley, you'll be first.
Good morning, Ms. Martin.
Good morning.
And thank you for doing an exceptional job over there. Tell me about the page, employee turnover by departments.
Sure. So these numbers, I always start my numbers with the beginning of the fiscal year, which is 10/1 of '24 up into current. So all of these numbers reflect that range, but I have a breakdown of each department. We have a total of 240 employees who are no longer with the city since October of '24. Again, this presentation was put together about 2 weeks ago, so that number probably has increased since then. But if you look at each, I have each department on here, and I also want to note that in Human and Cultural Services, 36 of those employees were our senior aides. I know I heard that Ms. Junior did mention in her budget presentation last week about the senior aid program. Those senior aides are currently furloughed because they did not receive that grant. At this time, I believe they're in talks of bringing those employees back, but I do want to note that 36 out of that 41 is our senior aides, and one of those numbers is, one of those out of her budget is summer workers.
Okay, and just for a quick follow-up, I see 28 from Parks. Is that because of this seasonal work or
Yes.
pay or?
Absolutely. The Parks and Rec Department has seasonal lifeguards, pool managers, and also recreational aides, so that number contributes to that as well.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Zell? Mr. Foote?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I was also interested in the employee turnover by department page. That's pretty interesting information. What is does the city have a policy on exit interviews for people who leave, and who does that? And what, can you tell us anything about that program?
Yes, we do have an exit interview process as well. So what happens is, once an employee resigns, we don't, of course, we don't get an employee that's terminated to do an exit interview. The employees that resign or are retiring, we get them to complete a exit interview form. And that exit interview form initiates in the department, because that department director is the person that initiates all of the exit processes, because it goes along with the vacation payout and also goes along with the employee inventory form to make sure that they have submitted all of their documents and all of their equipment to the city. So it initiates there, and it has a number of questions on that form in terms of why they're leaving, what salary, if it's a new job, they'll put on there what salary they're currently making, and anything that the department or city can do for the next person coming on to fix some of the issues in terms of the reason why they were resigning.
Okay, thank you. A flip side to this page would be how many of those slots from people leaving have been filled? In other words, when we lose 29 people from Public Works, are those slots still empty, or are some of them been filled? If so, is there another page? that
Yeah,
shows
there's
that?
another page,
Okay.
the hire by department. So if
Okay.
you look at the hire by department, it shows the number of
Okay.
employees that were hired, and again, that range is the same.
Sure, okay. Very helpful, I appreciate that. Thank
You're
you.
welcome, no problem.
Mr. Parkinson?
Thank you, and thank you for this. My first question is, you mentioned that one of the roles of the compliance and compensation officer is to prevent fines from the Department of Labor. I'm not familiar with that. Can you tell me the nature of these fines?
Sure.
And are we currently incurring them?
Yes, so typically what happens is, and if an employee is not paid for the hours that they work, or we may have exempt employees who are non-exempt employees that are being paid as an exempt employee. Non-exempt employees have the right to earn overtime. And sometimes you have instances where those employees may not be receiving their overtime pay. So what they would do is they would go file a complaint with the Department of Labor. The Department of Labor would reach out to my department and conduct an investigation where we have to provide a number of information to them, and then we will have to end up paying those employees back pay and also a fine in terms of them not being properly paid. So when I talk about Department of Labor, that's what I mean in terms of that. So we do have somebody full staff because we realized that we were getting a lot of that information. I mean, a lot of infractions in terms of employees not being paid properly. So we are doing in the Department of HR audits on making sure that if you are an exempt employee, you're being paid as an exempt employee. And if you're a non-exempt employee, that you are earning overtime the way you should.
And how successful are we on that? Are we able to combat most of them, or are we incurring a lot of infractions?
Yes, in the beginning, we were incurring a lot of infractions, which is the reason why my department implemented a compliance section, because we noticed that we were receiving a lot of infractions in terms of employees not being paid properly.
Excellent, great work.
Thank you.
And along those lines, I see your list of training and development, which is wonderful, and I know the chairwoman and I have talked about how much we both value professional development and
Yes.
training and development programs. Are there programs for managers in terms of not only the legal aspects of, hey, don't have these folks work overtime and not pay them, or all those aspects,
Yes.
but also just how to manage and support people and train them accordingly?
Yes, we do have a leadership training module that we have for our managers, where in that particular module, we talk about compliance when it comes to timekeeping. We also talk about FMLA. How do you handle the employee who is requesting FMLA? We also talk about conflict management when it comes to employees and managers, because a lot of times you have managers that are being promoted and they have a hard time now managing their friends, because at one time they were their friends and now they're managing them. So you have a lot of managers who are having a hard time doing that. So we do talk about conflict management, and we also talk about performance management as well. Being able to conduct performance appraisals on each one of your employees, because what typically happens is, managers wait until they've kind of gotten fed up with an employee, and then they come to us saying, I'm ready to fire them. And the first thing I'm going, well, what kind of documentation do you have on that employee? Let's look at the performance evaluations. And in most situations, they have not done a performance evaluation, and they have no documentation on that employee where they've reprimanded them. So we always push back. They don't like that all the time. I know the narrative around the city is it's so hard to fire people, but no, it's not hard to terminate people. You have to do the work. You have to manage your employees. You have to give your employees an opportunity to correct those deficiencies that they have. But if they don't know about it, they don't know to correct it. So yes, in that management training module, we do go over all of that with our managers.
So that's the EEOC leadership training that's available to all managers?
Now, that is a different training. The EEOC leadership training is typically when we have a representative from the EEOC come down and train our senior leaders. Council as well has participated in that training, where we're talking about sexual harassment and just workplace harassment in general. That is that training. Because the council passed an ordinance years ago where all of employees in the city of Jackson had to attend sexual harassment training at least once a year.
That's great. And we heard in a previous presentation, the fact that we pay, of course, 100% of the health insurance for our employees, and we pay a good chunk of their, the costs if they get a +1.
I think 85%, I believe. Yeah, 85%.
And I believe, roughly speaking, it was about 18,000 per employee
person.
that takes advantage of that. Of course, we know not all of our employees do, but for those that take advantage, it's about 18,000.
Yes.
And we were prompted to consider if perhaps we cover less of the +1s and take the money saved and perhaps look at raises across the board for there. And as the head of HR, I'd be curious your reflections on that.
So I have, if you look at the benefit slide, you have that, so you're looking at that, right? We did a breakdown of how, because I was listening to that question that you asked, Mr. Mallenbecker. But if you look at that, it has a breakdown of, how many employees are in those different tiers. And also how many of those employees are in +1 and how many in family. I do believe that when we talked about this years ago in terms of offering those different tiers, I think the plan to do that was to kind of create some type of diversity in our plans, because some employees don't want the health insurance, right? Some of them are on some other policies, and they don't want to interfere with their plans, right? So I believe that if we did that, I do believe that most of our employees will opt to have the salary increase as opposed to the benefits as well.
And where
I'm
on
sorry,
this-
yeah,
where on this?
as opposed to the benefits.
I'm looking on this, and I see the number of enrolled members, but this doesn't distinguish between the employees themselves
No,
and the
it
+1s, correct?
doesn't. It just, it gives you the breakdown and in different tiers, and as you can see, most of our employees are in the platinum plan. Not that many, because it's a great plan, of course. I mean, we offer great benefits, and that is proven that we offer one of the better benefits plan across Mississippi. So yes, most of our people are in the platinum plan with the $400 deductible.
And it's your belief that given the choice, most would select
The money,
the money?
yes. Yes.
I have a question for you. We really don't know if these people are in another plan, and most people, we think, would select money because money tends to motivate at low salaries.
Yes.
But would we be doing our people a disgrace knowing that they don't have health insurance? And so I think that is an option that we really need to look at what the city has, what people have in health insurance, and not be so fast to give people a raise and do them a disservice, because if they get sick, it's a lot more to pay for illness than that. And I think we really need to think about our population before
Absolutely.
we save $1 and give $1 for motivation. We need to find money, raise money, and give them salaries where salaries are due.
I agree with that as well. A lot of our employees, 'cause we do have our city clinic, but our city clinic is only for those employees who are on the health plan. So absolutely, we do know that most of our employees have cardiovascular issues. We have a lot of employees who have heart issues, and we know that.
We know our population.
We know our
varies,
population of people,
So we
absolutely.
need to really think about that before we give $1. Mr. Foote, yes, right.
Thank you.
Ma'am, you were coming
I'm
down
sorry.
this way.
Okay, she didn't have any. Okay, Mr. Hartley, go
Okay.
ahead.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Administrative leave, and I know that we're gearing up the Civil Service Commission. How is that coming along, integrating that program back into our personnel? And then the second question is concerning administrative leave. How many folks do we have on it? Any figures on how much we're paying folks basically to be at home? So those two questions, Civil Service Commission and administrative leave.
So the first question in terms of the Civil Service Commission, absolutely. We know how important the Civil Service Commission is to the city, and especially human resources. We have a backlog of cases that those commissioners will have in front of them as soon as they hit the ground running. I have made calls to all of those commissioners because the first meeting should happen next Thursday. So we are working on trying to get them acclimated with everything that we have going on. But absolutely, that time that we didn't have a commission, it just messed up the morale for the city of Jackson, the employees, because they didn't feel like they had an appeal process after the city made its decision. In terms of administrative leave with pay, I have no idea right now. I can get you that information in terms of how many people are on administrative leave with pay right now. But if I had to guess, I would say about no more than 5.
Oh, okay.
No more than 5, because we typically put people on administrative leave with pay pending some type of disciplinary action. And all of that information comes through my office. So I wouldn't say no more than 5, and that's a high number even saying that.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
Last round, Mr. Foot.
Thank you. On the budget overview page, the next to last line, debt service, 51,291. Is that something that the city gives you as a responsibility? Do they allocate all the debt service to all the different
To
apartments?
my knowledge, that's for the lease for the 633 building. That's my portion of the lease for the building that we're in on the State Street.
Oh, so it's like rent? I
It's
guess, or
rent,
like
yes.
lease. Okay. all
That's
right.
my portion.
Who owns that building, you know? I mean, that's not, the city doesn't own it.
The city doesn't own that building.
Okay, all right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Parkinson, last round, 3 questions.
Thank you. I just have one. We see your data on employee turnover by department. I'm wondering, in your professional opinion, what would be a reasonable goal? What should that number be?
And keep in mind that these numbers that are on the employee turnover we consider the transition as well. Okay, we had a new administration to come in and the old administration to leave. So I would not want this number in a year to be over, and just being realistic, okay, about where we are. With everything we have in front of us, we have salaries that we're working on, we're not as competitive as we want to be. We have managers who still need training because a lot of times people leave because of conflict that they're having with their managers. Those are the 2 reasons why our employees are leaving. So to be realistic, a realistic goal, I would say in a year, no more than about 75. If we can get those 2 areas fixed. Okay.
Thank you very much, and thank you for sharing the reasons that most people leave with us, so we can work on the salaries and the conflict with management, possibly training can improve that.
Absolutely.
So we should be an ideal working environment.
Yes. Thank you.
Next, we'll have administration.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Brandon Jackson, the budget manager, and I will represent the Department of Administration. The Department of Administration's mission is to work together as a trusted team, delivering accurate and efficient and transparent financial and administrative services. We are dedicated to supporting the City of Jackson's goal with integrity and compassion while enhancing the quality of life for every citizen and visitor. We have flatlined the budget, with the only changes being
Thank you.
no problem. The only changes to our budget would be the PERS increase, but outside of that, our budget has flatlined. Let me go to the next one. Some of our goals in the Department of Administration include continuing the review of our water and utility accounts. We are also implementing a new protocol requiring the liaison approval for all new city utility accounts. Also, we are preparing to update our vendor engagement survey to strengthen vendor relationships and gather feedback from the vendors. We're going to continue to roll out and improve our self-service platform for efficiency with the vendors and making sure all of the invoices are paid on time within 45 days. Also, we're exploring additional ways to improve our operational procedures, including payroll and AP. We've successfully kicked off our restructuring of our department. We've also added a new workstation on the 6th floor to increase accessibility and training opportunities and educating the vendors and how to use vendor self-service. And we have began training our fiscal officers and trying to update them on any changes with the finances and how to actually go through the processes of fiscal operations. And I am done.
Thank you very much.
Any questions?
Okay, we're going to start with Mr. Parkinson.
Thank you. I see listed under the accomplishments that the FY23 audit has been finalized.
No, it has not. We're actually, Finance has actually been in conversations with the auditor for the last 2 weeks with any changes that they have, and they have actually turned that in to the auditing team today.
Today.
Yes, sir.
Great. How many vendors are we paying within 45 days as a percent?
I am not sure, but I can get back to you with that.
Please. Thank you. And those are my questions.
Thank you very much. Okay, Mr. Foote? Oh, no,
Go
we're
ahead.
going this way, Mr. Foote. You
Okay.
just hit that button. I'm sorry.
Lid,
I got you, Ms. Brown, Mr. Hartley.
don't turn my button on.
Okay. I don't want you to be
Skip
talking
all
about
over
that's why
me.
I'm turning that button off.
A question, and I don't know if you or Mel and Becca can help me here. The new process. We went through a series of invoices tucked on the desk after someone leaves, et cetera. Went through a lot of that in the last few years. This new process we put in place, it was supposed to help the vendors and also help the management side by putting supervisory positions over. How is that going?
So we do have a supervisor on staff, our new fiscal operations manager, and with vendor self-service, it allows the vendors to actually input their own invoices. A lot of the issues that we were having in the past were some of the invoices were, getting lost in transaction. But now the vendors are actually putting in their own invoices within the system so we can actually keep up and track what vendors have been paid and what vendors have not been paid at this point.
Okay, and again, that's just my question is it successful? Is it working?
It's most definitely working on the tracking side. Matter of fact, a couple of weeks ago, she sent out a report on all of the invoices that haven't been paid and all of the invoices that have been paid. So we are able to actually track it better and know exactly who needs to be paid and who has not been paid within 45 days. And that is something that they have been communicating.
Very well. Thank you.
Also, they're doing weekly meetings. The fiscal operations manager has been having weekly meetings with the fiscal officers, and it's much better than what it was because people are actually communicating within the departments.
Very well. Thank you.
Mr. Foote?
Thank you, Madam Chair. It's my understanding regarding the audit that the two hangups have been the lack of an audit from Jackson Water and the lack of an audit from the convention center. Maybe we can, that's a problem for us to, it's limiting our ability to, this is for the audit of 23. But anyway, let me go to the next, on your page here, Department Administration Goals, it's got Entergy Process, and I'm trying to read this, it's kind of, the ink was running low here. It says, new protocols requiring liaison approval for all new city utility accounts. Okay, I'm not sure what that is, but I do think that there's a real savings opportunity if we can confront or meet with Entergy and review the contract revolving our streetlights. I think that needs to be a real high priority, because I think we pay way too much for our streetlights that have been in the ground for decades and decades, and have probably been depreciated all the way down, but we're still paying the same amount. It's not clear whether it's based on kilowatts or whatever, but I would encourage the administration, if they're interfacing with Entergy, to provide get some sunshine on the contract that we pay almost $400,000 every month on. That's my 2 points.
Yes, sir. I've had conversations with Mr. Mellenbecker, Mr. Taywisson, and Mr. Von Anderson about our street lighting contract, and we are attempting to audit it in the next couple of months to actually see what's going on with the monthly costs, because it has increased. When we moved it over to planning and development, we started the process of changing all of the lights out into LED lights. So, of course, at the beginning, there should have been an increase in the cost, but the cost of the lights should have tremendously come back down to the level that we're paying. So we are doing an audit on that too.
Good, please get the contract. If you can get the contract, that's, I think, the important thing to get. I'd like to see it myself if you can get it.
Thank you very much. We appreciate you. Chief Administrative Office.
Good morning, council members. The budget request from the Chief Administrator's Office is the same request as last year, subject to a $3,500 increase to account for the PERS change. That's it.
Mr. Hartley, what's your question related to the?
Just one question, and this is, thank you, but the PERS change,
Yes.
what are we talking about here? Increase?
The increase in the amount of the PERS match that is required.
Okay.
Budget looked at that and said there had to be $3,500 more in the CAO budget for the PERS match. I will tell you, this budget contains the pay for the CAO for 2 assistant CAO positions, and Ms. Peavy as well. Currently, only myself and Ms. Peavy are paid from this. I envision that if I'm put up for confirmation and this body elects to confirm me,
I think it went off after confirmation.
we will fill the other positions appropriately to have a robust office. You can hear from the budget presentations where we're trying to go, as you heard from Mr. Slater, to focus on a more centrally focused administration as opposed to each department feeling it has kind of free range to make its own decisions. We want everyone to understand that the decisions that are made in Parks and Rec impact public works, and that every dollar spent somewhere is a dollar less spent somewhere else. Every piece of computer software that doesn't work has ripple effects throughout the city. And so I think during my various times visiting with you over the last 2 months, I've kind of articulated where we're trying to go. And I can't tell everybody else to come in here and ask for a flat budget, working with Mr. Malambeka, and do anything other than ask for the same.
I just want to say, and I'm not sure if this came from your office, I know it came out of communications, but I really appreciate the effort to centralize the grants and put that process in place so that the city can better manage grants processes. Thank you.
You're welcome. That was Mayor Horn's idea, but I think it goes along with the overall centralization of government so that we really understand how to get the talent that we have in the city doing the best job and in the right place.
Mr. Foote?
Thank you. I've always been a little bit, it's always been a little fuzzy to me about the difference between the chief administrative office and the mayor's chief of staff. So Mr. Bozeman and you are the two interim. Can you sort of fill me in on the difference, where I would go for what questions and that sort of stuff?
The chief administrative officer is defined by statute. So there are 4 positions in our form of government that are defined by the Mississippi legislature. The first being mayor, the second, or 1B, being city council members, third being city attorney, fourth being chief administrative officer. Only those 4 positions are defined by statute. As I view CAO, I follow the statute, and that statute says the CAO is to direct and coordinate all efforts of the departments and municipal functions of government. I view chief of staff, and I would defer somewhat to the mayor as how he views them, but I view chief of staff as the individual who directly supervises the mayor's suite staff and deals largely with the external matters of the city. In other words, scheduling the meetings with major economic development, interacting with the public and setting up your community meetings or appearances by the mayor. That's how I view the chief of staff. I view the CAO as the person who's got to get behind the scenes and make sure it all works. And when somebody says economic development project is here, we landed that in the mayor's office, council approves. I'm supposed to be the guy who figures out how do we get it through permitting quickly, how do we make sure it meets site plan quickly, how do we make sure we've dotted our I's, crossed our T's, and that we don't get grant funding revoked in the future.
So if I've got a beef with one of the departments, whatever it might be, Department of
You can call me.
Widgets, you're the person that I would come to and say that this isn't functioning the way it's supposed to function?
Yes, sir.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Mr. Parker?
Thank you. First of all, thank you so much for what you've done for the city. It's been tremendous.
Refreshing.
Yes, and you don't even have your whole staff yet, so I greatly appreciate it. My only question is a simple logistical one, perhaps for Mr. Malambeka. Where in this is the CAO budget?
Fidelis Malambeka, interim CFO. So the CAO's office budget should be under general government. Right.
Thank you.
134.
134. Okay, thank you.
Mr. Tavison, I certainly appreciate your time this morning and your expertise in the handling of your office. Several times, Councilman Stokes had mentioned combining departments. Do you have any overall goals to that effect?
Yes, sir, Mr. Hartley. I actually have a memo that I'll be furnishing the mayor this week. I would like him to review it before it's presented to the city council, in which I make recommendations to reduce the departments from the current 11 to either 7 or 8. Again, that would be ultimately, the mayor needs to get comfortable with that, and of course, the council will have to act. You will have to pass an ordinance to restructure these departments. In looking at what we have, just a couple of statistics that kind of strike me as interesting. We used to have 2,150 employees in this city in 2013, and we had 8 departments. We have 1,379 employees, but 11 departments. I think that feeds into the narrative that we're perhaps a bit too top-heavy. Not only that, we've expanded within the departments. A department like planning that used to have 2 deputy directors now has 4 deputy directors. And each of those has a deputy director salary and a vehicle, and as Mr. Slater told you, of course, a phone. And so I have those recommendations prepared in a memo for the mayor, regardless of whether he asks me to stay or not, because I think it's in the city's best interest. I think we could get by with less departments, replace some of our department directors with appropriate deputy directors, and then further reduce deputy directors when they're not unnecessary by combining that. That will hopefully do a couple of things. One, allow us to find some cost savings to help with the budget, and/or if you decide in the future, give raises. Also decrease the number of folks who have vehicles, and we've got to get this number of phones down. The number that Mr. Slater gave us today, I did the math while he's sitting there, 40% of city employees have a phone. I was out Friday evening with Councilwoman Clay after hours. I was out Labor Day yesterday. No offense to our city employees, 40% of the city employees weren't working Friday evening after work. We saw the couple who worked, Councilwoman Clay, and same yesterday. So we've got to get that down. I don't think that 40% is an appropriate number. I think we've created too many middle management level titles to justify giving somebody a decent salary and give them a phone and a vehicle. And so my proposal to the mayor, which I think will get presented by the mayor to you in some form, will reduce that and consolidate that so we eliminate redundancy and improve savings. The other thing you've heard this morning, just this morning, we got too many hands in the approval process, whether it's spending money or time. The more hands in the process means the more likelihood for errors. I'm not even going to talk about intent. Intent's for another day. Just in terms of errors, when you have too many hands either approving purchasing or too many hands approving time, then no one's responsible for it. And nobody takes it seriously. And so we've got to, again, streamline our management so we know when something goes wrong, who is responsible. And if it was a mistake, so we train them out of that mistake. And if it was intent, we take the appropriate disciplinary action.
Well, I certainly appreciate your dedication towards improving all our processes.
Thank you.
And we look forward to the mayor's discussion on it.
Thank you very much. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
Okay. Now we will have Communications and Mayor's Office.
Shanika, what's her?
There's not a hard copy of communications
Okay.
presentation. I do not have a copy of the mayor's office.
Okay.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair.
Before you start, is it in this budget book?
Yeah.
Okay, what page does it start on in the budget book? $156. Thank you.
Work my shoulder. My good shoulder.
There I am. Good afternoon, Madam Chair and committee members. As interim, I should state my name first, I guess. Nick Lott is my name. As interim director of the Department of Communications, I'm honored to present the proposed budget for the department's divisions, public education and government, the Office of Publications, 311 Action Line, and constituent services. Our mission is simple but essential: to keep our residents informed, engaged, and connected to their local government. We do this by ensuring transparency, telling the story of our city, responding to the needs of our residents, and building public trust in the work we all do together. The Department of Communications is responsible for the quality and content of information about city government, including preparing news releases, managing media relations, organizing press conferences, and handling crisis communications. The Public Education, Government, and Film Office helps share Jackson's story through public access programming, while supporting film and creative projects that showcase our city. The Office of Publications ensures timely professional materials that highlight city services and initiatives. Our constituent services and public information team is at the front lines of government, addressing questions, concerns, and needs from residents daily, making sure every voice is heard. The 311 action line connects residents, businesses, and visitors to city services by routing and tracking non-emergency service requests such as street repair, sanitation, and other issues to the appropriate departments. The proposed budget sustains these important functions and provides the resources necessary to modernize how we communicate, expand digital outreach, and strengthen responsiveness in real time. Simply put, it allows us to serve the people of Jackson more effectively. I ask for your support in approving this budget so that our team can continue to represent the city with professionalism, clarity, and accessibility for all residents. I was going to ask that we share the video, but we're already sharing it, so there's the video there. Thank you. I'll respond to any questions.
Yeah, you got to explain that.
Is that why you're, so that video there was, I asked Peg to create a video highlighting the great work that they do, and so those were among some of the things that they do daily throughout the city of Jackson. Thank you.
So is your budget flat from last year? Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Mr. Foot.
So you listed a lot of things there. I'm just looking at the page and a half of the book here. It's got salaries, 0. So how you get paid? Am I looking at
A
the
lot
right
of
page?
volunteer work, I guess.
Volunteer. We appreciate that. Okay, there's another salary line down here. I was just looking at the top salary line.
What page
Okay.
you on?
162 or something like that.
So Councilman Foot, actually to help out, if you look at the next line,
Okay.
temp, right?
Down at the bottom, Office of Publications and Permits. It's got a salary of 162. Oh, wait. Oh, temporary
Right.
RP.
Yes. So that's where you have the salary there.
There's the salary. Okay, all right. I just want to make sure you're getting paid something. They gave you a phone, too? They give you a phone? Okay, all right.
I have a phone.
Get a car from IT.
I don't have a car.
That's the only question I had.
Okay, Mr. Parkinson.
Real briefly, I had a question from a constituent. If they said that the city council meetings used to be available on TV, you could watch them on TV. Are they still available on TV?
I know they're available on social media. I don't think we're on TV.
Is that a financial reason, or can they be available on
Do you want
TV
to
as well?
tell you?
Thank you. Please come to the mic.
That was with Comcast. 57.
Kylie Williams, City of Jackson PEG Network. We are not on television as of right now. From my understanding, just kind of quickly, one had something to do with the signing of the franchise agreement between the city and Comcast. In addition to that, we've had issues with our master control. It is no longer operable. In addition to that, we moved the facility from the Metro Center to the 633 building, and the equipment does not fit in the 633 building. So we're basically operating under what we call a boutique studio. We're not able to also provide our public access producers with the space that they need to be able to produce shows. Right now, we have one small studio that we turned really an office into a studio that we do like the mayor's programs, small interviews and things like that. So we've just had some major issues. What we've done is we've pivoted into providing a more robust social media streaming platform. We do streaming on both Facebook, in addition to that on the YouTube page. and we've categorized our different offers, our content on our YouTube page. We're trying to continue to build that so that it looks more like something that a streaming site online would present.
So I got a question.
Can't go yet. You cannot.
While she's still here, I want to talk.
Okay, well, we're gonna let Ms. Brown, we're gonna come down the road. Ms. Brown?
I'm sorry. May I
We're
ask?
gonna come back to you. Mr. Hartley?
Yes, Mr. Lott, you're basically level, so you're not asking for anything. Do you have any new initiatives coming out of communication? What's the direction?
We don't have any new initiatives, but we want, as I stated, we want to make sure that the city and the residents are informed on what's going on at City Hall. And so we try to put out something daily or every other day, just keeping the citizens informed. And Kai does a great job of making sure that gets on all of our social media platforms. I really have a great team in each of these divisions. There's not a lot of managing I have to do with them. Kai, Ms. Sheila is back here with publications. Ms. Pearl is unable to be here right now. She's out providing water to folks in constituent services. So these ladies do a great job, and we should be proud to have them as part of the city team.
Okay, thank you.
May I respond to Mr. Hartley as well? Councilman Hartley, we're in the early stages, but we need to get more out of our team. It is a great team. We're underutilizing them. For example, we need some PSAs out here about not putting bottles and straw and grass cuttings into our stormwater systems. That's something that Councilwoman Clay and I were dealing with Friday evening over the weekend. And you see the amount of debris that's in there. People look at the city and say, well, come clean it out. We need to get less debris in there to clean out. So we need to do that. There are some solid waste matters. There are just some other types of PSAs and communications that we have probably not used this team. I've been fortunate to talk with them both before Mr. Lott got here and since. And I think they have a lot of talent that we can use to push out some better messaging. We also need to communicate, coordinate the fact that we have like 4 different social media accounts. And they need to all be flowing through Mr. Lott so we make sure the same messaging is going on. Not trying to take communications away from police and fire, for example, but there is cross-messaging that can occur that we're not fully utilizing. I believe with Mr. Lott's leadership, I agree with him on the team because I've had some chance to visit with them. I think you will see us be more robust and more active in our communication going forward.
Okay, and thank you for that. I remember when we did have a channel that was very effective for getting information out. I'm not sure if that's the right method, but please utilize the council. I attend all sorts of neighborhood meetings. I need to be putting information in folks' hands. And but thank you for the great job you're doing, and hats off to publications back there for everything they do.
Thank you, sir.
Well, this is just a comment. You mentioned space. Over in Westside, the Westside Civic Club has a partnership with the city, and they may have space that could house PEG. It's easy ingress, egress, it's plenty of parking, and they've done a good job, kind of rehabbing some of the space. There's even a kitchen over there, and I think if y'all got with Mr. Bell over in Westside, they even put a gym in there with a boxing ring. So it's different working things, but I think that would be a really good space for PEG to house its network and to grow.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, ma'am. My question is regarding the city's website, because it used to be, and hopefully it still is, that we would archive the meetings, the videos of the city council meetings on the website, so you could go, if you want to go back and look at a particular discussion, that happened 18 months ago or something, you could go on there and track it down. Is that still being done?
It is. It's still being archived on the live stream, on the live, what's it called? Life size. I'm not sure that the actual function on the website is there anymore where you can click on it, but it is still being recorded. So I think that just needs to be
You could just make sure that
put
it's being
back on the-
archived, so somebody, either a council person or somebody else, can go archive and go back and look at a particular meeting. I'm not so worried about the committee meetings and stuff, but I think since meetings are a matter of record, that they ought to be archived on our website, and in addition to social media.
Right,
Counsel-
I think that's
Ms.
just,
Jordan.
IT has to put that,
Yeah,
that function
Councilman
back on
Foote, we're currently working with IT and a contractor revamping the website. So it's
Okay.
not where it's going to be. We're getting there.
Well, good, thank you.
Ms. Jordan, go ahead.
I'm sorry, just to add, we're also in the meantime, we're also on the city's YouTube page. I can send that link out to the council if you like, so you'll be able to see all of the stuff that you would see on Life Size.
Shanikia Jordan, Clerk of Council. So, Mr. Foote, a couple of months ago, you guys approved an agreement with Ease for Swagit, and that is the Life Size. So I had a meeting with them last week. On the website, you should see an upgrade, and they are working to put all of those meetings, from all the way back. I think we're going all the way back to 2019 to make sure that everything is there. And then it will be live, in the upcoming weeks. It will start back being live on the website.
Okay, Mr. Parkinson?
Thank you so much. We were able to get, Mr. Lumumba was able to get the 311 system back up and running in the month or two prior to the election, after a hiatus of not being up for a while. We all want to make sure that that never goes down again. Was that an issue of you not having, or not you, but was that an issue of the department? Was that a resource allocation issue? Was there a technical issue? Was there something else happened that prevented 311 from being operational?
Councilman, I do not have an answer to that, but I will get back with you. Mr. Boone was unable to attend. They're swamped answering those calls. It's only 2 of them currently. We have an employee out, but I'll get that to you.
Great, yeah, because if you need resources for that, I think that's something that we need to allocate resources for. And I would also just encourage us to be publicizing the 311 data. How many potholes are being requested? How many drains are we asked to be cleared? What are the statistics behind that? I think that would be good for the public to know.
All right, well, I can share some numbers with you. A total of 10,436 service requests were submitted in the 311 database in the year 2024. The majority of those requests were routed to Public Works Department, specifically bridges and drainage, paved streets, solid waste, and traffic maintenance. And those are the numbers from 2024, but I'll look at the numbers so far this year as well.
Great. And the routing of 311 tickets, is that a manual process, or is there some way, if you get a light request, that it automatically goes to Entergy? If you get a graffiti request, it automatically goes to
I think
JPD
currently
or-
we're manually inputting that currently. So each, Andy and Celeste are actually having to submit that.
Okay.
Thank you, and we know you'll be checking on software that will be able to non-manually, automatically route everything in the future. We appreciate you.
Thank you. Oh, I wanted to recognize my constituent services director, Ms. Pearl. She's doing a great job. She just walked in, so
Excellent.
thank you all.
Yes.
Last question.
Yeah, one final question, sir. Is it possible for us, the city council, to get a quarterly report on the 311 system?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, we appreciate you. Is there any other business that this committee needs to handle today? If none, we are adjourned.